Hi all, this is Dr. J again. We're going to be doing a program today that processes grades using a sentinel to mark the end of the input. And to accomplish this, we're going to use the while loop. So let me just add that. Using the while loop. And a priming get data. Okay, so let's see what we mean by that. That's kind of a mouthful. And that priming get data means we're going to do a see out, please enter the first grade, see in, read the first grade prior to starting the loop. And then we're going to do it again in the loop. So that, I'm talking to MD, who's volunteered to help me today. Say hi to everyone, MD.
Hi.
Okay. All right, so is everybody good with what the objective is here? We're going to be reading a stream of data, and first we're going to do a preliminary read prior to a while loop. Okay, so let's introduce some of the data. What do you want to call the numbers that are being read? The grades? I think just grades, right?
Yeah.
And you want to call the sentinel a constant of some kind? Or, nah, we could just say -1. We don't need to identify it. All right, so is that the only, well, we need more. We need, we want to find the average, but that should be double. What else do we need that's, how about the number of students, total? Total students. And we want a high grade. And we want the low grade.
Average.
What else do you think we need again?
Average.
Average. So let's make that double.
What did you say to him when he said, haha?
Double. Average. And should we initialize that? Why not?
What did you say before?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have all of our variables pretty much. If there's another one that we need, we'll add it later on. But for now, I think that's good, unless you want to do an int constant for the sentinel of -1. We could do that too. Maybe not. So let's go ahead and do the priming read. So ask the user
Ask him if he helped request a cycle.
for the, please enter
The grade.
your grades, right? -1 to stop. Something like that. And then we go ahead and read it in.
Grade.
You know, we have to get that grade.
I think you forget S.
Ah, so maybe I should just call it grade.
Yeah.
All right, so while the condition comes next, and that has to be in parentheses. So when we set up a while loop, we should put what we're testing for to be true up front. We want it to be true that the grade that we just read is not -1. So we could do that by testing, does it not equal to -1? Or we could say greater than -1. I think we're safe by saying that, because any negative number is not a grade. So while grade is greater
Greater than -1.
than -1, we process, check that the grade is positive. It's always good to put a comment in.
I got the extension table.
And then a
In my house,
bunch of
like,
statements
the outlet is
follows.
very
Let's use a squiggly. Okay, everybody with us so far? Everybody in the back with us? Okay, we're checking that the grade is positive, otherwise we're going to break out of the loop. When we break out, let's not even put in what we're processing. When we break out of the loop, what are we going to be printing? The results. See out. The high number, the total number of grades entered, and that would be our variable called total. If we want, we can make all of these 0, even though it's meaningless to do that. But in case we have no input, everything will print out as 0. Not that it's really necessary, but what the heck. Low grade equals 0 as well.
For a normal person, but like for the people that are going, that's what complicates about more.
Okay, so the total number of grades entered is total, and why don't we just run what we got so far before we continue, just to see what's happening if we do enter -1. If we enter -1, it should jump out and say the total number of grades entered is 0, right? Because we're starting the total, total students, I called it. Maybe I should just call it total. Less to right. So the total number of grades entered is total. All right, so let's try compiling and running this.
You forget semicolon there.
And that's bad. That's what you're here for. You got to correct me. All right, so let's try compile, and then we'll try to run. We got a clean compile. Thanks to you. And now we're going to run. Please enter your grade. Let's enter -1 and see if it just prints out that the total entered is 0. So far, so good. We're on the right track. Okay, so now all we got to do is fill in the while, but before we do that, let's print out the rest of the results. So what other results do we want to know? The highest grade? The highest grade is and what do we call that? High grade? High underscore GR.
You could also put -8.
Yes, but you can, but -1 is the code.
And what will that print out to be in case we put -1 originally? That'll print out to the
0.
default. Yeah, the default value, 0. See out. I think I have an extra less than, huh? Yeah, I got carried away with my less than's. All right, so see out the lowest grade. Is, and that would be low grade, right? Is that what I called it? Low grade?
Low underscore grade.
Low underscore grade. Low underscore grade and endlin. And what else did we want to print out? The grade, the average. Yeah. So we're almost done. See out the average grade. It is average. well, actually, it's not quite average. Average grade is, we got to do a computation here. It's the average divided by the total, right? The average is going to be an accumulator, and we're going to divide it by the total. So we have to make a little computation in here. It's AVG divided by total. All right. Okay, that looks good. Now, as soon as we read in a grade, we could add 1 to the total right there, or we could just add 1 to the total right here. I think we'll start by adding 1 to the total. So total plus plus is the first statement in our loop. Add 1 to total number of grades. Now, it'll never get here if the grade entered was -1. So it's not going to change from 0 if the grade entered was -1. Of course, I don't know who would want to run this program only to enter -1 to begin with. That doesn't make too much sense. All right, so total, add 1 to total number of grades, and now we're going to add to the average, I guess. Well, also we have to set up if we have a higher high or a lower low. You know what, low grade, it would be more useful to make low grade some very, very high number. Like, I don't know, a bunch of 9s. There's no test score that's going to be 99,999, I don't think. We hope. And it'll just make our algorithm easier, because we're going to have to test if grade that was just read in is greater than the high, then we have to change the high grade to the new grade. So then the high grade equals grade. You see that? Because we're assuming that the high grade is 0, and clearly we're going to get a grade eventually greater than 0, which will become the new high grade. We get a grade higher than that, that will take over. So what's in high grade will be the highest grade. And the same logic for the low in reverse. So the low would be what? You want to dictate that one to me? If grade less than, go ahead.
Low underscore grade.
Yes. In that case, what do we do?
Low grade equal to low.
Whoops, my underscore, I missed.
Equal grade.
That's correct. So the logic looks almost identical, just inverted, right? Okay, now finally we have to compute the average. We're not really computing the average, we'll just make it an accumulator. So plus equal to the grade, right? So it started with 0. Every time we get a new grade, we add 1. Now we have to read the next grade and do it again. So let's put in the same message as we did up front. Let's cut and paste this. Control C. Control V. Please enter your grade. My grades, -1 to stop, C in grade. Okay, so now that should be good, just perfect. Should we test this? What do you think? What do you think? Should we test it? Are we ready for testing here? Should we be brave? We'll test it on like 5 grades, see if it works.
Okay.
Let's test it on grades 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we know 1 is the smallest, 5 is the biggest. Yeah, so, and we know what it adds to, so let's do it on that. So save it and compile it and run it. That would be this one. Okay, please enter your grades, -1 to stop. So let's enter 5, 3, 1, 2, and 4. And now -1. Total number of grades entered is 5. So far, so good. Highest grade is 5. Lowest grade is 1. Average grade is 3. That's good. Looks good. Let's just do an arbitrary list. We won't know if it's right or not, but we'll get the idea. I mean, if we put in 2 numbers, we're not going to really know. So we'll run it again.
Not to insert, you know, insert it right.
4, 7. Hopefully they got better grades than that. 54, 76, 99. Somebody maybe got 100. Somebody maybe got a 0. Somebody got a 76. Somebody got a 67. Somebody got an 88. Somebody got a 55. What do you think you're going to get on the midterm? 100? We'll add another. So we'll add another 100.
Yeah.
What? That's for you, MD. And is anyone going to get a 0? Probably a
No.
couple. Yeah, put a couple of zeros in there. Oh, that's enough. We ended on a pessimistic note. So the total number of grades entered is 13. I didn't count them. The highest grade is 100. That looks right. Lowest grade is 0. Average. I hope the average grade is going to be better on the midterm. Right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it will be. Okay, so we're going to stop right here. And thank you very much, MD.
Thank you.